It is kind of an accomplishment, though, to get both Ali and Dana White to call you a scumbag in the same day. All right, we got two stories today. The first one is why Dustin Poirier lied to the MMA public and what he accomplished with that lie. A lot more detail coming from that. And then Dana White just absolutely obliterated an MMA journalist. And then it was misreported why he did it and what he was saying. It was like a whole mismatch of nonsense. Here's the deal. So Dustin Poirier says the fight is off. And then a few hours later, he says, never mind. Sorry, guys, I jumped the gun. I just hadn't gotten a hold of my manager for a few days. So that is not true. What are the odds that Dustin Poirier went on to X and announced that the co-main event 5-round fight that he is in camp for right now is off? It's in a month or whatever, 5 weeks or something, just because he couldn't get a hold of his manager. It's nonsense. There's no chance that's accurate. Dustin is a smart person, okay? Dustin is a veteran. He has years and years in this sport. And so we know if you've never seen him do a thing like that before, there has to have been a reason that he was doing it, okay? Now, what reason would there be for someone who is in the co-main 5-round, the 5-round co-main event of an upcoming UFC? Like, what would the purpose be? Hey, what do you always say about the negotiations between fighters in the UFC? I say the fighters never have any leverage because they can't collectively bargain. Right. So, what would you call it when a fighter had not signed a bout agreement yet and they have built a fight card in Miami, which they've already sold out, and he is the biggest star on the card and no bout agreement? I would call that leverage. And the reason why you would be in a position to negotiate if you're Dustin Poirier is because in his contract where it says you get paid X for a fight that is a non-title bout, which is how all of the contracts are set up, well, those are assumed to be a 3-round fight. And so if you book him for a 5-round co-main event and then are just assuming that he's going to sign for the same amount of money when he has tremendous value on that card, that would be exactly like you assuming that you can just keep watching my content and watching my content without subscribing and liking this video. And that's an assumption that you just can't make because you never know. I might just through the screen and be like, you can't watch anymore. And at that moment, you know you fucked up. So why don't you just subscribe and then like the video and then everybody's going to be good. Well, that would be a silly assumption if you have a fighter who is educated and good at negotiating and also understands that that's not reasonable to give him the same amount of money. I got to show you guys something so dope. Serpent Forge, they made now this necklace. Check them out on Instagram, Serpent Forge. Their stuff is so sick that he would have gotten for a 3-round fight on the undercard versus him being the other co-main with no other title bouts on the card except for the top of the bill. So, of course, he's in a position to negotiate in good faith in that position, okay? So, they hadn't signed a bout agreement. They're getting close, and he has, listen, dude, what do you think? Like, it was a stacked card. Now Ian Gary's gone, right? Ian Gary was also on that card. They've 299 has been billed as this, like, incredible card, which it is. But if Dustin Poirier goes off, all of a sudden, not that amazing, not quite as amazing. They've already sold all the tickets to it. And if Dustin never agreed to just fight the 5-round co-main for his normal pay, then he's in a position to demand more money. And so in addition to the fact that he's in a position to negotiate more money, who's his best friend? George Masvidal. Why is this relevant, Jesse on Fire? Oh, well, because George Masvidal is one of the few people who has negotiated very big contracts while not being a title holder and also negotiated back-end pay-per-view points while not being the title holder. So, as Dustin Poirier is training and talking to George Masvidal and he's hearing about Masvidal's deal, because why would Masvidal not tell his best friend the terms of his deal? Why on earth would Dustin sign to fight for, let's say, his new deal? I don't know. Let's say it's 400. Why would he sign to fight for that? Or I don't know. I actually have no idea what it would be. But why would he sign for that and not get back in pay-per-view points when he is as big of a part of the draw to that card as any other person on the card? Dude, he's not a bigger star than Sean O'Malley. That's not true, actually. Sean O'Malley's a huge star. Don't get me wrong. Sean O'Malley's a huge star. But based off what Aljamain Sterling said about the last pay-per-view buys, like not like a huge draw yet. you know. Dustin Poirier, on the other hand, knocked out Conor twice. And I've been in the stadium when they go, and here's Dustin Poirier. Nobody gets cheers like Dustin. No one. No one. I know you guys have heard Chael talk about that too. At UFC 271, all right, he was there, and Gabrielle and I were in the front, you know, whatever. Like, we were in the front of the lower section, and he was kind of like, and they were like, Dustin Poirier. Dude, the place almost came down. I've never heard, well, not never, but he for sure that night got by far the biggest, you know, reaction from the crowd. And so George Masvidal has done 5-round fights where he wasn't a title holder, has gotten pay-per-view points. He's been a headliner. And so Dustin's like, why the fuck should I not get that? And he was right. And so he threatened, you know, he just says, oh, I guess the fight's off. You know, we couldn't come to terms. And 2 hours later, they're like, all right. Because he had leverage. That is what leverage is. And here's the thing. If you think that Dana, well, I don't know. I've never seen Hunter speak, so I don't have any gauge on him. But I can tell you basically for sure that Dana respects that move, you know, because like, of course, this is also the whole thing with fighter. Like, of course, the organization is going to be like, okay, yeah, let's do that. And they're just like, here you go. It's your normal pay. Right? Yeah, it's your normal pay. Let's say it's $375. Yeah, it's your normal pay. And is it reasonable for it to be his normal pay when he's the co-main, it's a 5-round fight, and there's no other title fight? No, that's not reasonable. They're asking him to do more for the same amount. Why would he do that? Like, why would he do that? And he doesn't even have the chance to win a title, and he's also taking an enormous risk fighting Benoit Saint-Denis. Why would he do that without more money? But is the UFC just going to like be all, hey, man, they're just going to give him more money without him even asking for it? Of course not. And so Dustin, if he intentionally did this, didn't sign, got all the way to here, and then was like, oh, man, I guess we can't come to terms, and they immediately turn around and got that, then that's just smart, you know, because his leverage was very high now. It's too late for them to reshuffle the deck and go try to figure out a replacement for a co-main on 299 after they've already been scrambling to fill the 300 card. So Dustin, if he did this on purpose, played this absolutely perfectly. And so what I would guess that he probably got back-end pay-per-view points, which he deserves. And that's what it is. So let's move on to Dana lighting up a journalist. All right, let's switch gears. Let's talk about Dana White sticking his hand straight up the booty of the media guy and being like, I am terrible at my job. Fuck you. What? Dana White lit the media up, I heard. Everyone's, oh my, Jesse, did you hear Dana? He called you out. Wait, really? Dana called me out? Why? Because, you know, you clickbaited about Dustin Poirier's fight being off when it wasn't. Dustin Poirier is the one who said the fight was off. How would Dana be mad at me? He actually just more so went off on the entire media and said, stop clickbaiting. And I'm like, that seems so bizarre given that Dustin Poirier is the one who tweeted that. Why would everybody not be reporting? I went on Twitter, you know, and I saw Luke Thomas said something like he didn't understand why people were being hard on the media. And obviously, I think I've made pretty clear, even though I break Luke's balls, like I consider him a very credible source of MMA media. So I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm with him, man. Why would Dana be mad? But then the irony of the whole entire thing was that whoever was reporting that Dana had attacked the media was incorrect. And then so the entire media was reporting that Dana White attacked the media, which is also incorrect. And it was incorrect also what they said he was attacking the media about, because he attacked one person. He attacked that one person not because of people saying that the fight was off at all. That's definitely not why he went after the guy. I'm going to show you exactly what happened. The guy said something that was factually not accurate and called Dana out at kind of nasty. And, you know, he was nasty about it. You know, he was nasty about how he reported it. So when you think about it, he was both wrong and he was nasty about it, which is like a double-edged bang bang. And what? What? But anyway, he was wrong and he was nasty about it. And so Dana called him out. So you got to go, all right, so what's his punishment for being both wrong and nasty to the boss? And it's like, 1,000 times more people know who he is now than they did yesterday. I'm like, well, that sounds like that's good for him, right? It's like, yeah, it's probably a good thing. It's like, but so I don't understand why did Dana say his name? He's like, he really pissed him off. I understand. That's, I mean, I'm not one to throw rocks at a person who can't help themselves but say fuck you, because I absolutely am one of those people, and I, can't judge. I just feel like as an objective observer, I have to point out that this ended up being a positive for this guy, even though he fucked up twice. So, it did turn out that he was very, very wrong, and Dana proved it. So we're going to just jump into it real quick. So this is what Guilherme Cruz said. He said, BSD coach Daniel Warren told me weeks ago they had no idea about the fight before it was announced by Dana. They loved it, sure, but were surprised by the announcement. Benoit was sleeping when the news broke. His wife woke him up saying, hey, you're fighting Poirier. So this ended up being complete and total horseshit, like not true whatsoever. And outright fabrication of facts, which is probably why Dana was like, oh, I have an idea. Fuck you, guy. But let's just continue, and I'll show you what Dana said. Hang on. Thank you, MMA World. See? And here's where he was nasty. Vicente Luque versus Sean Brady, and now Dustin Poirier versus Benoit Saint-Denis. 2 days in a row where fights announced by Dana White are now off because, well, they were never really a done deal. Oh, is that right? Because if I remember correctly, Ali Abdelaziz, I think, responded to this, and I feel like maybe he represents someone on the other side of that Vicente Luque and Sean Brady thing, and he confirmed that this was also not true. So, not true either. But when you say never really a done deal, if he's saying they didn't have signed bout agreements, that seems to have been accurate, right? So that part seems to have been accurate, but this part was a complete and total lie. Maybe Saint Denis coach lied to Guilherme Cruz, but listen, dude, this right here is like, Dana, listen, you know what? Let me get serious for 1 second. You want to know? Every company has a corporate culture. Like, I'll tell you exactly who told me this. Chael Sonnen told me this. But I can verify for you guys who have no experience in corporate America that there is, generally speaking, like some kind of quote or some kind of guiding light in most corporations. I worked for a company and theirs was True North. And what that means is, I don't know, whatever. Like, is true, True North. And it means, you do what you do. There's like 6 things. Okay, well, UFC's is very, very simple, and everyone who works there follows it. And I have no qualms about quoting Chael on this, because it is, I find this to be nothing but a positive attribute about the company and the people who work there. So, and that is the only thing that drives all of it is do what you say. Say what you're going to do, and then do what you say. And that's it. If you say you're going to do something, you do what you say. And so when you say this type of comment, right, 2 days in a row where fights announced by Dana White are off because, well, they were never really a done deal. That is like calling his word into question, which is why it pissed him off. And I totally understand, because that was one of the reasons that a certain kind of feedback used to piss me off. I've learned to just embrace it now because it's just engagement, but it's where you're calling me a liar. That's what you're doing. And I'm like, fuck you. I never lie. Certainly not to my fucking viewers. I love you guys. I would never lie to anybody. But that might be a little bit of a stretch. I would never lie to anyone. Hey, give me all your money or else I'm going to blah, blah. I don't have any money. Lie. You lied. You did have some money. That's a weird example, man. I know. I'm blowing it. Anyway, all right. So here's what Dana said. Here you go. And, oh, okay, so it was. I didn't even see this. I just remembered seeing something Ali said yesterday. This is the reason I cut you off 3 years ago, because you are a cancer. Vicente fight was a done deal. Brady injured himself, scumbag. Damn. Oh, so this guy was a bigger deal than I even realized. If Ali shut him down 3 fucking years ago, then, yeah, this guy must have been out there blowing it for years. It is kind of an accomplishment, though, to get both Ali and Dana White to call you a scumbag in the same day. And again, I will just go back to, like, this is just one of those, like, miracle shots where, someone tripped over their dick and landed on a lucky outcome. But, I mean, listen, it's not an outcome I want, dude. I personally, no, I do not see a lot of upside in the most powerful people in the industry thinking that I'm full of shit and then proving I am full of shit just so that people would know my name. But, to each their own, Guillermo.
Dana White released a text conversation with BSD in which he is seen agreeing to fight Dustin at UFC 299. Dana added a
Oops. So, hey, Guillermo Cruz, go fuck yourself, scumbag. So this is what Dana said. He's attacking the media for clickbaiting about Dustin Poirier and Saint Denis being off. I'm like, that just doesn't make any sense. And that's because it didn't make sense. He was lighting this guy up for misreporting that Saint Denis never knew that the fight was on until it got announced over the, like, it's not even fucking connected to what Dustin Poirier and them did. You know what I mean? It's like completely disconnected altogether. And now finishing up the portion of Dana just absolutely lighting this guy up. Here you go. So he finished up with this. You media guys are such pieces of shit. Writing whatever clickbait you can to be first and not right. This is why nobody trusts or likes you. Guillermo Cruz. Youchy Wawa. That's gotta sting, Guillermo. And then he gave the 2 middle finger emojis. I don't care what anybody says. If Dana, like, people criticize Dana, whatever, but like, if he comes back and he says, fuck you, you piece of shit, I know that hurts your feelings, dude. It has to. Because Dana White's the most, like, imperative figure in the entire sport. They were just talking about this. I heard Dana talking about this with Vivek Ramaswamy. He was saying that when the Fertittas wanted to sell, he's like, Lorenzo was like, you have to stay or else no one's going to buy this thing, but I'm done. And I wonder how Lorenzo feels about that now. It's like 4 billion's great. 10, 12 billion's a lot better, but nonetheless. Yeah, so when you consider that, and that's also another thing that I got to talk about that in another video. Because everybody's, when did Dana's free speech platform change? And it's like, Ariel kind of got near it, right? Where he's like, they sold to Endeavor. And it's like, right. But what else? And he's like, it's Trump. And you're like, feel like maybe there's another factor that you're not thinking of, Well, what else could it be? It's like, well, if the Fertittas said you have to stay or else no one's going to buy the company, then what he's saying and what is being communicated to Dana, which is true, is fucking company can't run without him, right? They're like, it has no value if you're not there to run it, or certainly much less value. And so Dana's like, hey, you know what you call that? Leverage, which means I can do what the fuck I want to do. Lorenzo was his boss. Okay, Lorenzo was his boss. So when he did those things with Nate and Matt Mitrione, whatever, he had a boss who was thinking about selling the company. Okay, thinking about selling the company. And so, think about that for a second, because now he has a boss who's not thinking about selling the company and they want to get aligned. Anyway, you understand what I'm saying, right? But, like I said, just to, put a stamp on this, it must hurt your feelings, Guillermo Cruz. Or maybe you think of this as like a badge of honor, but I don't know. Listen, I don't know, dude. People have different goals. There's got to be some people that are like, if Dana White says my name for any reason, I win. Like, if Dana said this shit about me, I would be like, oh my God, dude, I'd be calling. I'd call everybody. I'd be like, dude, you got to get me in touch with this guy, man. Like, Dana, dude, I'm sorry. I don't know what, this is a miscommunication. I would hate it if Dana was mad at me, dude. I hate it when anybody's mad at me. Well, that's not true. I know there are some people mad at me now that I don't care about, but I find myself, like, if Rogan, I can't even imagine that would ever happen. If Dana was ever mad at me, I would be like, I must have made a mistake. I apologize. You can call me a shill. You can call me whatever you want, but I am inspired by the fuck you money guy who says fuck you to everybody, because that is the dream. That's real freedom. You get to say fuck you to whoever you want. Anyway, so that's what I got, and I love you guys. Subscribe to the channel, ring the bell. Bye-bye.